I'm going to first call on Louis Kruger. He is the Africa Energy and Resources Industry Leader for Deloitte. Louis, it's lovely to have you here, and thank you so much for joining us. I guess before we get into all of the technology aspects of SAP M in a box, let me start with a little ask from you around what's happening in the actual industry. What are you finding are the challenges? And help me from an African context perspective of what you're seeing both our clients and the industry facing at this point in time, and what's exciting you about this launch that we are embarking on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Umeshni, and it's fantastic to be here, and also fantastic to have all of you on the call as well. I think from a mining perspective, a mining and metals perspective, it's really the cornerstone of economy. It delivers all the raw materials for industrial development and growth, and so it's very important. But it's also fraught with a lot of challenges, as you've mentioned. Just thinking through fluctuating commodity prices, stringent regulatory requirements, environmental and safety concerns. I mean, there's a host of things that face the industry. I think one of the big challenges on the continent as well is digital transformation, and I think the ability to transform at speed is necessary for our clients and for the mining and metal companies to really remain competitive and sustainable and efficient going forward. And then I also think that as these technologies advance at pace, mining companies are able to leverage them to improve productivity, safety, and reduce cost as well. And if one then looks at the continent specifically, I think there's certain supply side constraints that the continent faces. There's a lack of infrastructure for one. There's uncertainty around some policies and regulation. And then as we expect that the demand will rise for certain materials, that's going to be quite important in the energy transition. I think the short-term focus of our clients are really around cost containment and portfolio optimization at this stage, at least in the medium term. And then we know that in order to address these challenges, it's quite important that we take a holistic view, that we have deep industry expertise, and that we apply innovation. And I think that's why I'm so excited about this SAP M mining in a box solution, because I believe that it can address some of these challenges. And I hope that you enjoy the next hour with us as we unpack and share some of these applications of the solution. So thank you very much, Umeshni.
Thanks, Louis, for that. So that, as I said, is Louis Kruger, our Africa energy and resource industry leaders coming to you. Louis, I think your discussion was spot on from an industry point of view. I think the industry is in a really tough position where, they need to really think about, and I'm sure many of you on the call are facing the conundrum of having to think through your budgets very carefully from a cost containment view with all of the industry pressures that you're seeing, but at the same time being asked to innovate and digitally transform. And that conundrum, sometimes places you in a very difficult position. So with that, I think I'm going to hand over to Pascal. Pascal comes from the SAP space and is a leader in the SAP world. Pascal, SAP's been serving the industry of mining metals and minerals for a while. You've seen many clients, large scale to small scale, having to work through digital transformation for many years, and you've served many of these clients. As kind of a leader in the technology space, talk to me a little bit about your views on the industry. Where do you see the space moving to? I think has what Louis spoken about, does it resonate from an industry challenge perspective? and what's happening in the SAP world to solve for that. And then I guess, really a little bit about the Deloitte SAP partnership, and what's happening in that space. Pascal?
Sure. Thank you, Meshni, and nice to meet everyone. My name is Pascal. I am the head of mid-market digital sales for SAP in MEA South. And yes, as Meshni already mentioned, it's a very exciting space, and we're very happy to be here also from an SAP point of view. We're working with Deloitte in many different aspects, but specifically in the mining industry, we see a very great combination between mining expertise that Deloitte brings to the party, as well as the expertise that SAP brings to the party in the mining industry. The challenges that Louis just alluded to earlier are very relevant. We get a lot of customers asking, "Hey, SAP, how do I keep innovating with my technology stack in this challenging environment?" And what we can see is in general is that we actually have different types of technology that serve different types of purposes. But I think we all know where we're heading, right? And that is in the world of AI and all of the good stuff that comes with that. So I'm not sure if the slides are going to come up on the screen, but I want to start with not the traditional SAP sales and marketing pitch, but actually start with a small analogy. On the left-hand side, we see a Cuban car, and the right-hand side, we see a flying car, so to say. And what we see a lot of customers are asking us is that how do I actually obtain the latest and the greatest innovation? How do I get there, including some of the smaller and especially also the larger mining companies in Africa as such? And what we see is that the analogy that we're trying to use here is that the Cuban car on the left is probably very familiar to you. It's a car that's been driving around for probably 60 years or maybe even longer. It's been patched up. It's been new engines put in, new tires put on, new steering wheel perhaps, and actually will be able to carry on for the next 20 to 30 years. But the reality of this is that this is a little bit on some of our customers that are on a legacy ERP or on a legacy software. The reality is that it will probably last for another 10, 20 years. But the other side is that it will probably never be a self-flying or a self-driving car. So the question is, and on the next slide, we talk about that a little bit with a quote that we have from Mr. Klaus Schwab, who's the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. In the world, it's not the big fish which eat the small fish, but it's the fast fish which eat the slow fish. So we have customers in the mining industry specifically asking, how do I get there so quick, considering all these different challenges that we're seeing in the industry? And especially in Africa, we see it's very, very disruptive in some areas. So what we have for that is something which we call a qualified partner package, which is a partner like Deloitte in this case, who packaged their expertise, they package their knowledge and actually put it in a guided and simplified, transparent overview for customers to take their ERP implementation at an accelerated speed. And essentially what this means is that SAP validated this together with our industry team, with our delivery teams, with our customer success teams, and says, hey, this particular bundle of services with our software is what we consider quality assured, and actually will carry a badge, which is the SAP qualified partner package. On the next slide, we talk a little bit about what that actually looks like from a pure capability and innovation point of view. Maybe some of you will recognize this. We see that especially those who are on an on-premise kind of line, you'll see that there is a little bit of expectation that it's a staggered kind of thing. Well, as time goes by, we upgrade, we do all sorts of different things, we look at the different capabilities. But we also see that a lot of customers have customized this, so it gets very tricky for us to actually make use of that innovation that's coming out. By deploying a cloud kind of delivery, we see that actually gets accelerated because SAP takes care of that together with the partner, in this case with Deloitte. And if we look at the green line, this is a little bit more on where we are if you opt for a qualified partner package with Deloitte. And that is where we are trying to be as disruptive and innovative as we can, because we're able to bundle the services from Deloitte together with the software from SAP in this transparent way. And what we see is that the customers who opt for this, we see generally that there is a much higher success rate in the implementation. It's a much faster success rate in terms of go live. And also we see that adoption increases much faster because it is a guided, simplified implementation that actually comes with Deloitte's expertise in combination with that of SAP, which gets you as a customer to go quite fast and to make sure that your next mining ERP will probably not become a self-driving car, but definitely it can have something really great for you in hand. So on that note, I want to thank you. There's a lot of things we can talk about today from an SAP standpoint. I'm here also with my colleague Keith, but this is not just another upgrade. This is just a new way of working where SAP offers this together with Deloitte in a simplified and single offer contract. SAP and Deloitte are with you at every steps, and the summary of it is that we want to create accelerated outcomes with focus on innovation and return on investment. Lots of things to talk about. Very excited. We want to thank Deloitte for their partnership. Deloitte is a global platinum partner for SAP. We're working together in many, many different industries. We're super excited, especially in Africa. And with the price point they have revealed, I mean, there's no more reason for you not to go and have a conversation with us about that. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We're here for you. We're at your disposal. For any questions, we'll be available on the chat and later on. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Pascal. I think that was a great introduction into the SAP landscape and what's happening. I particularly love the quote of the fast fish eating the slow fish, which I think is very, very relevant in digital transformation in today's world. And so very true in terms of trying to find that balance between making sure that you're getting the best solution, but doing it at a rapid pace. Looking forward, and just like Pascal has said, Deloitte and SAP has had a long-standing relationship for this particular qualification. We've been working together for many months now, trying to make sure that the solution that we bring to you is one of the right quality, but not just quality. What we're hoping is the foundation of true innovation that you can bring into this industry and the true foundation behind it. So without further ado, I think I'm going to get to the most exciting part of the presentation now, where I'm sure you've been hearing the words through the webinar in terms of SAP Triple M in a box, an SAP qualified partner package solution that Deloitte and SAP is bringing to you. But I'm sure you're curious to understand what really is this package. What does it do? What's its capabilities? And what's its pricing? So we're going to move on to that now in terms of the next part of the agenda and the session. So first of all, we're going to give you a sneak peek review. There'll be a video that will come up in a minute to be able to give you a view on what the solution is about. And then I'm going to hand over to two of my colleagues, Hester Rebel as well as Tahira Beda, and they're going to be talking you through what SAP Triple M in a box is. So handing over for the video.
Organizations are concerned about the complexity, cost, and risk of major SAP transformation programs. An ERP implementation should not take more than 12 months. Adopting a clean core, best practice processes, and a proven template allows organizations to move fast and reduce risk of implementation. This is Deloitte's mining and metals asset, created with over 20 years of industry experience and pre-configured in SAP S/4HANA, modeled with Signavio and Fiori enabled for all transactions. Within the digital core, we have a typical view of an SAP template. It's very modular and business process centric. Diving into each of these level 2 business processes, you will see the level 3 business process. Within the level 3 business process, you can discover the actual activity steps. These blue boxes represent an SAP Fiori tile and a transaction within the system. Each one of the level 2 business processes encompasses a detailed design document. The design document portrays S/4HANA leading practice for the mining industry and forms the foundation of the design, which rapidly accelerates this phase of the program. This is the unique Deloitte S/4HANA value chain representation of the best practice business processes. Within each of the value chains, there are various components within the operational processes of a mine site. Within each of these steps, we have associated underlying SAP business processes. These are the same business processes in the digital core, represented in a very business-centric value chain. Clicking on each tile launches the pre-configured solution, and we process the associated transaction relevant for the step in the activity. These value chains are also used for the testing of the system in a very tangible manner. The businesses will relate to and form the foundation for training. Most major commodities are covered in our core value chains. When a commodity is not covered, we adapt an existing mature value chain to a specific commodity a customer may be requiring. Another core component of Deloitte's S/4HANA mining and metals asset is the various strategies that are required for enterprise transformation programs. The key strategies that are always needed are data migration strategy, reporting strategy, development strategy, testing strategies, and the integration strategy. These are all best practice strategies that are built up over a number of years, being refined and improved off the back of each S/4HANA project, ultimately delivering the latest best practice and thought leadership in the various areas for an S/4HANA transformation program, all at the click of a button. Deloitte has been implementing SAP in the mining and metals industry for over 20 years. All that experience is consolidated, updated, and improved in our Deloitte Mining and Metals S/4HANA asset. This allows you to adopt the S/4HANA implementation quicker, cheaper, and with minimal risk. It allows you to modernize your SAP landscape, adopt new functionality and a clean core, setting you up for future success.
Cool.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hester Rebel. I'm an Associate Director in our Deloitte Consulting practice. I'm very pleased to unveil to you how our new solution, SAP M in a Box, can be simplified and accelerate ERP implementations for mining, metals, and the minerals industry. So we know that ERP implementations are often complex, costly, and time-consuming. You face delays and escalating costs during deployment. SAP M in a Box is a solution that is designed to solve exactly these challenges. What that means for you. SAP M in a Box is a pre-built, SAP qualified partner package solution offering options with SAP RISE as well as with SAP GROW. The solution is a ready-to-go ERP solution built with best practices and tailored to your specific needs. The solution is proven because we've already implemented in real-world applications, including SAP mining implementations across gold, uranium, coal, iron ore in South Africa, as well as in Australia and also West Africa. So whether you're a mid-tier company seeking premium ERP at an affordable price, or a large firm needing a best-in-class framework, the solution is flexible and scales to meet your needs. So why choose M in a Box? And there's a few very clear benefits. The first of all is faster deployment. You will reduce deployment time by almost 50%, simplifying your ERP implementation through a set of streamlined processes. Second of all, you will be able to unlock savings, streamline your operations with accelerators and ready-to-use tools and templates. The third important thing is the reduced risk. The risk of failure is significantly reduced because common pitfalls can be avoided with our tried and tested framework. You can gain more insights because your dependency on highly customized legacy and ERP solutions are totally reduced. Your business will gain insights, enabling you to make smarter and more informed decisions using real-time data. The question I think that everybody wants to ask is, what about cost? We really offer an affordable and a transparent pricing based on an end-to-end construct over a 3-year period. Our fees include SAP subscription, implementation, and end-user support fees, simplified in an all-inclusive fee per user per month. So additionally, a significant portion of the partner subscription discounts are going to be passed on to you. Let us know if you would like a personalized demo. On my next slide, you will see that the solution really gives you comprehensive cover for also key commodity types. Over 180 pre-configured process flows is already modeled into accelerators like Signavio. The process flows include mining, drilling, crushing, refining, and many more. You will have access also to a set of ready-made tools. So we've got 40 templates for faster design, configuration, and deployment. We've got a clean core design approach, and we're using the Deloitte EVD, our enterprise value delivery methodology. There's business integration to the SAP cloud applications such as Ariba, Concur, and SuccessFactors. And there is also, and you also saw that in the video, predefined strategies for reporting, data, testing, and integration. The one thing that you will also be able to is to leverage the PMO assets. 1,350 requirements is already in our requirement traceable matrix. There's already predefined test plans, 50 developments tailored to your needs that you can actually choose from. You will also be able to choose from optional mobile applications for inventory management, plant maintenance, and warehouse operations. In summary, the SAP M in a box will save you time, it will cut costs, and reduce your risk while modernizing your operations. With that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Tahir, but before I do that, let me leave you with a thought. Steve Jobs said, "Innovation is our ability to see the change as an opportunity, not as a threat." Thank you for your time, and we look forward to partnering with you on your journey.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here as the solution owner for SAP M in a box. I'm excited to launch this with you guys today. As a qualified SAP product, we stand behind continuous improvement and innovation, which we add to the solution as we continue to learn and grow alongside yourselves as partners. If we can just go to the slide. So the question that we get asked is, what differentiates the solution? And we understand, every partner is trying to adopt SAP standard, but we've learned as well over the years, having done this, over 20 years now in the industry, that every industry has specific processes. So really the premise on which we've built the solution, is to keep the core aligned to SAP standard best practices, which is, one of the key differentiators. But then also, I think the key thing that sets this aside from other assets is really, it's a tailored solution for the mining and metals and minerals industry. So the processes are tailored, the accelerators, are tailored to suit the industry. Overlaid with that, you will also have the SAP best practices as well. So as you guys have seen in the demo video, it captured how SAP M in a box is able to accelerate and adopt best practices from the get-go. But in addition to that, some of the things or some of the supporting benefits that we've also seen, walking this journey with clients, is that the solution also creates a level of excitement for end users as they see the processes develop and they get a feel for the actual S/4HANA system early on in the design phase. So as you know, with most systems implementations, adoption can also be a challenge. So what we found is that creating this level of excitement through early engagement on the processes, the look and feel of the actual S/4HANA system upfront, it helps drive that level of adoption with the business stakeholders. And at the end of the day, these stakeholders within your business become the champions within the broader team. So I think that's the key thing when you look at what the differentiator is. It's really built on SAP standard, but with tailored for the mining, metals, and minerals industry. And it also helps, drive that business centricity and adoption upfront. Thanks for that. Over to you, Meshni.
Great, thanks for that. So just to give me a second. There we go. Just to let you know, that was Hester Rebel as well as Tahira Beda, as I highlighted, some of our solution and industry experts around the SAP M in a box. I hope that gave you a little bit of as I said, it's really a sneak peek review in terms of the launch that we're doing today, where we have newly qualified, as Pascal has highlighted earlier on, with SAP around this partner packaged solution. So I guess as a summary, the SAP M in a box really brings to you the best of the modernized technology of the SAP world in an S/4HANA platform space on the cloud. And alongside that, a very tailored view that Deloitte has brought to you from a pre-configured packaged solution that is very specific to your industry. And the combination of the both makes it a powerful tool for you to be able to accelerate transformation in your business. With that, whilst the qualification is new, and hence the launch for this webinar and our excitement around that, it isn't a new solution necessarily from a business point of view as Deloitte that we have been using into the client world. So it is a tried and tested solution that we believe and trust in, and that's because we have implemented it at other clients in the recent past. To take us through a real life case study, I have Conrad Steyn as the ERP leader for Africa Online from the Deloitte perspective, who will take you through a case study of what we've done in the past using the SAP M in a box solution. Conrad?
So, Meshni, so the client example that we're going to talk about is a large African client. And to give you a little bit of perspective, this client currently does about 3 megatons through their beneficiation plant, but they are targeting to do about 30 megatons. So our solution really needs to be able to scale with them. The client environment is one where they do mining, they do ore processing, they've got rail, they've got port, and they've got shipping. So it's quite a comprehensive port to mine to port type environment. But then interesting enough, they also have an exploration facility, and we'll talk about that a little bit just now. So on the screen here, you can see the trends that all of you are really exposed to. But in particular, this client were very much focused on aligning the capital allocation to ESG and the other ones that's highlighted there. But I'm going to start with that capital allocation to ESG. And that was really around the urgent need for a lot of mining companies for progress to net zero, the geopolitical tensions that's happening currently, and then, of course, also the rise of AI that we all seeing. But in particular, for our African clients, and in particular for this client, there's a level of skepticism, or there was a level of skepticism in terms of reliability and transparency in the supply chain that they wanted to solve. So very much their investors are looking at how do they align the capital allocation to ESG. Also, this particular client has got a real challenge, as many of our African clients do, in terms of talent. And therefore, our solution needed to be able to get them up to production and into the processes pretty quickly without draining on their talent. So the other challenges that they really needed to focus on is to continue that journey to innovation-led organization. In particular, an interesting one here was through integrated operations and closing that IT/OT vulnerability gap. So why did they go for our solution? It's really, as I said, lack of skills was a particular need, which really meant that they needed to predefined processes. They did not have the capacity to spend significant time on defining their own processes, but those processes needed to be mining-specific best practices that they needed to implement. And then at the same time, they wanted to have the lower risk, speed, and standardization so that they could, as you see in these trends, achieve visibility, agility, and IT and OT. And if I go back to Pascal's comment, they wanted to be the fast fish, not the fish on dry ground. So if we then look at their specific environment on the next slide, where we implemented a solution that covered the whole of the operation. So when you look at the mining solution, typically that includes things like financials, procurement, and contracting, license management, product systems, maintenance, the full ambit of what a mine would need. But at the same time, in the exploration facility, we really only focus on finance, procurement, contracting, and then obviously a key one being license management, to be able to report on the licenses, and then a little bit of project systems as they start going into feasibility and construction. But this solution needs to be able to grow with them. In exploration, it needs to grow through that chain of feasibility, planning, construction, and operations. And in the rest of the organization, in terms of operations, it needs to grow from this 3 megatons to 30 megatons over a period of time. So how did we address some of the other issues that we were talking about? And what you can see on the next slide, we'll show you, and I'm sure you will recognize this type of architecture in your organizations. But they really needed to get to a situation where they wanted to get to a fully integrated solution over time. So if you look at that top layer, the enterprise systems level 4 is really where we implemented the ERP system. But we had to really look at how do we integrate right from level 2 systems and the level 1 systems, the SCADAs and PLCs, right through to the top, so that in future, they could get to a situation where they could get to that executive boardroom, and very much what they're targeting is to get over a connected mine nerve center and an integrated operations center. And our ERP, the triple M in the box, forms the foundation for that. It forms what will be, together with the plant management systems and the MES type systems, which will form that core of the ability to be able to look at that going forward. So that's the integration layer that they required. Now, at the same time, if you look at what's happening is that in mining, there's a lot less vertically integrated organizations. So they had to look at how the ecosystem, how they could work with the ecosystem. So our solution is ready, as some of my colleagues said earlier. And they're going to add on some of the other SAP solutions like Ariba to deal with the ecosystem. And we have an analytics cloud component that specifically got mining KPIs on. That will be some of the next steps that they will be looking at. So if I can remind you, some of the reasons why they did this and why they chose this solution is that they had the lack of skills. They needed to have predefined processes. They needed to have best practices. They needed to get a lower risk in terms of implementation, speed, and standardization. And that's what our solution really gave them, together with the integration right through into the plant management systems, which gave them the information in terms of production and so on. And we all know one of the big challenges in the ERP solution is how to get the actual production information into the solution, especially in mining. So that is really the why of why they did this. And I think, to go back to Pascal's comment, we're not quite yet there with the self-driving ERP, but that's where we're heading. Thank you, Meshni.
Thank you, Conrad. Very helpful. For those of you that don't know Conrad on the call, he doesn't just have many years of ERP experience, but he loves to walk the floors of these industries and has done that many times. So his connection into being able to really understand what it means to bootstrap on the ground and to be able to bring it to life from a technology perspective is something that has been amazing. So thank you, Conrad, for that real life case study. And so I think the takeout for me is a few things. So number one, SAP Triple M in a box is for us a unique, innovative solution from the perspective that I think for the first time, the industry will be able to see a real tailored solution coming to you between many years of Deloitte's global and local industry experts that have come together to develop the solution. And as I've said, we've already tried and tested it successfully at clients. So we're very excited with the SAP world, as Pascal highlighted, and I sat on those calls. They really gave us a grueling time to try to get through the process of being a partner qualified package. And so you can have the assurance that this particular solution has gone through many gates of approvals to ensure that it has top quality behind it and the right leading practices to bring the best solution to you. And I think the key thing that Hester highlighted to you is that we've also thought clearly through the cost factors with a clear understanding of the cost pressures that this industry is in, and the need to be able to bring a digital solution to you that is both world-class, but at the same time at an affordable price. And so the combination of all of that is what we're hoping from an SAP, and hence our excitement here today is a true industry game changer for you in terms of an implementation model and an option as you rethink or reimagine where ERPs of the future goes for you. So with that, I'm going to move on now to the fireside chat. Excited to have you've gotten some of the leaders that you've heard a little bit from, so I'm going to bring them back onto the panel. So Conrad Steyn will be joining us on the panel for the fireside chat, as well as Louis Kruger. And we have from the SAP side in the energy and resources industry space, Keith, and Keith, I hope I'm going to get the surname right, Nethercote, in terms of joining us on the panel session. So yeah, I guess from a fireside chat perspective, what we're going to delve into now a little bit more is when Conrad closed out the case study, Conrad highlighted that the SAP Triple M in a box is a great ERP foundational tool for you. It is absolutely something that every organization that is looking to scale and grow in the industry must have to ensure that you get the best process efficiencies in terms of your standard offerings and processes from an industry point of view. But somehow I get the sense from Conrad's conversation as well that that's not going to be the end game, but really is more the foundational tool. So Conrad, let me pose the first question to you. In your mind, as you've said, the SAP Triple M in a box is this core foundational tool. It helps you get started in terms of the digital change for your organization with a strong foundation behind it. But for companies that choose to implement this, what's the possibilities for them on the end game of a digital transformation journey?
Yeah, I think so. So let me start at the beginning. So firstly, you have to actually implement the basics, and you have to get the basics right, and you have to get the core foundation. So that's essentially what we provide. Is you have the financials, you've got the plant maintenance, you've got the inbound and outbound logistics, and ultimately, a lot of that end game is around insights-driven organization and data. But if you don't get the basics right, then it's very difficult to actually get to that insights-driven organization. So once you've put this platform down, and as you know, it's a very robust platform with years and years of SAP experience in there, overlaid with our mining expertise. You then have a very solid foundation in terms of getting to that future transformation. But again, as I highlighted in the case study, one of the challenges is how do you get the actual operational data, and how do you make the link to the shop floor, to the mine. You now start thinking about drilling, blasting, hauling, crushing, and those processes. So you really actually need to be connected to what's happening in the actual mine and collect that data. We all know that we plan, we drill, we blast, and there's always a little bit of a difference between what we expected. So and it's actually picking up that reality through this solution, the integrated solution, that you can then go to that type of future scenario where you have a type of a remote operating room and so on that you can get to, and you can get that integrated operation center and so on. And this really gives you the foundation, and SAP has got tools to assist you in that space, and you can get to integrated business planning. We spoke about agility. If you don't have the agility, but if you don't have the foundation, you can't have the agility. So you can't do integrated business planning as an example. So this is really why I'm saying this gives you the platform to build on, to get to that type of agile, insight-driven type of organization. Thanks, Meshni.
Thanks, Conrad. Yeah, I think the key pick out there that I took out was data, right? That from a core foundational perspective, that SAP Triple M in a box or solutions like that in this ERP environment is very important for you to get your data right. And once you get your data right, integrating that with the rest of the systems in your organizations. I had a lot about IT, OT, and the integration and the importance of that. But bringing together this insights-driven organization seems to be one of the great end games that you can get for improved decision-making from a digital transformation point of view. So with that, Keith...
make a comment. It's a fireside chat, so I suppose we can interrupt each other. So IT, OT, it's quite a controversial thing. So people talk about IT, OT convergence. And that is a lot of people don't like that term. So I rather talk about IT, OT collaboration, and it's that we've got to actually get right. Thanks, Amicia.
Love that. Thanks, Conrad. Okay, so I think with that said, I think from a Deloitte consulting point of view, we've seen, Keith, the business view coming through from our clients around the complexities of digital transformation, trying to really unpack it and simplify it, trying to get the right architectures in place. From an SAP landscape, having worked with the industry also, as a large-scale technologist and a leading technologist company in this industry space, what are you seeing on the SAP front from a trends point of view? What is it that you're embracing as SAP in this kind of next frontier? And what would you be telling the industry in terms of what the growth space is to digitally transform?
Yeah, so really appreciate firstly the collaboration as Conrad positioned there between IT, OT, but more importantly the collaboration between SAP and Deloitte. And that's a key trend that's actually impacting mining and mining metals and minerals as it is for the Deloitte SAP Triple M in a box positioning there. So competing as an ecosystem has been a long-standing trend in energy, natural resources. The data that we have within our organization is one aspect, but the data that resides within that ecosystem is equally important. And from a technology perspective, the foundation in the ERP is great, but getting the other data sets in from your supply chain partners and vendors, your contingent workforce on the other side of things in terms of sustainability, and then also more and more so in terms of scope 3 emissions and impacts, not only from products that our mining entities and that produce, but also the inputs into that. So competing as an ecosystem is really something that's being further enabled through technology. If we look at partnerships between motor vehicle organizations in the EV space or in the hybrid space, and even in the hydrogen space, those collaborations are between automotive manufacturers, mining entities, and even vehicle providers and such things. So there's really great collaboration in that space, opening up new revenue streams, which is, I think, the important side. We want to generate more revenue, but we also want to do it more profitably. So that's where the cost takeout comes out. And there, that collaboration between IT OT is really a game changer. So with things like the embedded artificial intelligence and that's opening up a whole bunch of new opportunities to improve the mine planning, the exploration side of things, the beneficiation processes. And the technology and the AI in that space is actually business-centered, business-led. The opportunity, again, is that as an ERP-centric organization from an SAP perspective, that sits right at heart and soul with your financials. So you've got the financial data along with the operational data, and you can actually start making really informed decisions in these, brain trust, digital boardroom, insights-driven organizations where you can pivot and move quickly. So no longer that big fish, but the small fish seeing opportunities, seeing change in commodity requirements, new opportunities, new business space, new geographies is really, really exciting. And I think a key thing, even to the customer reference that Conrad took us through, it's with the sustainable reference in mind. So ESG is heart and soul of our engagements, our technology discussions, and where we see the industry going. So sustainability from, greener operations, allowing capital investment into our own organization, but also, the profitability of the planet, if you like. So sustainability has been heart and soul in the energy natural resource space, whether it's from a safety perspective or now into the duality of finance and the ERP space. So every financial transaction or operational input has that carbon equivalent. And what does that actually mean? So it might mean that our products are cleaner, greener, which comes at a premium then that we can position into the European markets from a regulatory perspective. It gives us a differentiation against our competitors in other regions. So sustainability at the core of every ERP transaction, every technology decision is a focus that we're seeing more and more with our customers. And a lot of the early adopters of the SAP Green Ledger are in the mining space. So to the SAP Deloitte mining in a box offering, the mining metals and minerals industries, if you like, are firstly the early adopters around our cloud technologies, but they're also the fastest movers. So they're adopting the Green Ledger, as we say, which is actually, firstly generally available only next week, which is quite exciting. But our early customers and that are already in the forefront of the sustainability initiatives, which is a really great segue that's using things like artificial intelligence and the AI within the tech.
Thanks so much, Keith. Very interesting there. I think I saw the synergies come together really nicely between what Conrad spoke about in terms of SAP M in a box, as you highlighted, core foundation in your financial and your corporational processes. And that data is important. It's also important that, and I think SAP has built amazing integration now into the capabilities to be able to integrate to OT systems that are out and in those different spaces and bringing those data points together in a clear, insights-driven way is really the magic here in terms of digital transformation, because it will enable that industry then to be able to make better decisions at a faster pace that ultimately will help and scale and grow the organization. So I think data came out quite clearly for me, integration and the need for that. And this whole new world of why AI then becomes not just conversational, but something that can truly be used, in terms of being able to create that magic of a true digital transformation journey of the future. So really helpful. Great to see SAP leading in these spaces. I think we've seen some, alongside Deloitte, some great Gen AI tools coming out now into the market in terms of what that end game can look like. And I kind of go, it's not so far in the future anymore. It's actually right here. And I think with the sustainability agenda being high in this industry, a lot of focus and energy going in on that as well for tailored solution packages in this space. So with that, Louis, you've heard from all the technologists in the room. As our industry leader, help me bring it back to the business view. In your mind, we talk about digital transformation. I go, some of us who have been in this industry for many years, we kind of go, Is it a fake, something that's just a little bit of a hype we're going through at the moment? Will it go away and we'll hit the next wave of what we think digital transformation is? What's your view of digital transformation at the moment in the industry? Is it something that's a must-have? Or is it actually one of those nice to haves? And for those that are on the call, having seen many of these clients across the world and very much in the Africa space, what advice would you give our audience as they're thinking and battling through this journey of what they must prioritize and not?
Thanks for mentioning. Look, I think digital transformation is imperative. I think it could be immensely beneficial. I think all three of you have mentioned visibility and enhanced decision making, which I think is incredibly important and has real business benefit. I do think, though, speaking to our clients, that there's been a lot in the recent years around digital transformation, and I think there's a bit of a disillusionment as well. And I think the thing here is really around the business cases and realizing value that's associated with digital transformation. So will this initiative, or whatever the digital transformation that you embark on, will it actually move the value drivers on the business? Will it impact mining and process intensity, labor intensity, energy intensity, or capital intensity? So I think that going forward, also given where we are in the business cycle from a margin compression perspective and a capital expenditure that's been rationalized, I think there's a big focus on making sure that we actually are getting the value and that business benefit realization is achieved. So I think that's the one point. And then the second point, I think, is that there's been a lot. I think the second thing is also to deploy these initiatives and solutions with the end user in mind. I think we've all seen, and I remember back in the day when I was in control rooms, you see alarms going off. There's all these things happening, and the controllers just switch them off because there's just too much going on. So I think really designing the solutions with the end user in mind, even goes for reporting that can be just there's so much. I think that'll be quite important in terms of how the information is getting consumed.
Awesome. Thanks, Louis, for that. I think on the call, as highlighted, the panel has many years of experience in this industry. I think it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. I think some of my call-outs and my key takeouts has been SAP M in a box is definitely a core foundation that can really bring you the right set of tools that can help you on a digital transformation journey, but really is a starting point to that in terms of where you could go to in terms of an end game, but something that you cannot do without. So with that said, I'm going to open up the floor on the panel members for any final comments from your side. In terms of the audience, if you feel you have any questions for us, now's the time. Please do post it onto the chat, and we're happy to take any of your questions. Panel members, speakers, any final comments from you before we close out?
Yeah, perhaps from my side. So I think firstly we're chatting from an SAP Deloitte perspective, but it's a triple M, and I think the third part of the whole process is ultimately around our customers. So Conrad brought to life really valid use cases, 20 years experience from the Deloitte team in the mining space, but technology from SAP, capabilities from Deloitte. Ultimately, it comes down to what Louis was saying around business case, business value, and that comes from the customer side. So the industry is transforming. The opportunity exists to be that fast fish. And I think that three-way partnership between technology, advisory and implementation services and the packaging just makes it more agile. But ultimately, we want to get there together with our customers, and we want to be there with you in that future state. So just acknowledging everyone that made the time and joined the call. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Keith. Appreciate it. Okay. I think that we have gotten to the end of our presentation. It has been an absolute awesome session with all of you, and thank you for the speakers on the call for joining us. Thank you to the audience for taking time out for this webinar session. We look forward to engaging with you and happy to take any further questions that you may have outside of the session so that we can make sure that we give you your time back and close on time. So thank you for joining the webinar session. As we said, yes, Hester.
Sorry, there is a question from Peter Nkwe around, have we implemented this before?
Okay, sure, happy. I must have missed that. Thank you for the question. Conrad, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so firstly, this has been based on many years of implementation. So this is not a
I think we might have lost Conrad there for a moment. No problem. Let me help with that question. So yes, correct. We have implemented the solution in the past. It is actually newly qualified with SAP from a partnership perspective in terms of the partnership qualification. However, from an industry solution perspective, it has been in the industry. So we have actually globally adopted a SAP Triple M in a box. We're at the global level. We've implemented it now for the last 3 years, and locally in the African market have brought it on board, tailored it into the African solution, and over the last 2 years been busy with clients with actual live implementation. So yes, it has been implemented. We've gone through the scars of it and through the SAP partner qualified packaged space have now brought it on. So I hope that helps on that one. So I'm going to pause there and just see if there's any other questions. Hester, maybe you can help me.
There is a question around, does Triple M template include the SAP solutions for bulk transportation, commodity management, which are not part of core ERP component?
Okay, thank you for that. Tahir, I'm going to ask for your help on this one.
Sure, thanks, Amisha. See, there's the question from Shabir. Yes, Shabir, it does cater for commodity management. For bulk transportation management, as you've alluded to, it is not part of the core ERP. So what we've done is it isn't part of the existing solution, the transportation management component. But we obviously look at that separately. As you know, all of it is maybe not applicable, or transportation management is not applicable to all clients. So what we've done through the solution, we focused on the core, and then for the additional kind of, you want to call it inverted commas, non-core solutions, we latch those on separately. But for commodity management, yes, that is included.
Great, thanks to for that answer.
There's
Appreciate.
Amishi from Peter Nkwe, and the question is around clients' main concerns has been cost overruns and how one measures the ROI post the implementation of Triple M in a box.
Okay, thanks, Hester. I'm going to take this one as the last question. I'm just conscious of keeping to people's time. But thank you so much, Peter, for that question. It's actually one of the main reasons that we've brought this SAP Triple M in a box package together. And one of the methodologies that we've pulled together is to try to ensure that it minimizes on cost overruns. So effectively, the partner package solution is tailored to be able to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the industry. We've thought through previous implementations in terms of lessons learned. You've heard us speak a lot about the need for business adoption, stakeholder management, really ensuring end user adoption through the process. And what we typically found is those are all of the hard hitting ones that typically creates the cost overruns. And so we've catered for that in our methodologies. And so a solution like this and bringing it to the table actually reduces the chances of cost overruns. From a complexity point of view, again, because we've tailored the package to the industry, we've thought through those complexities, and that's why the implementation timeframes has been reduced, because we have the capability through this process to have brought those years of experience to the table, having learned from it and built it into the package that is part of this deal. So with that, I'm going to really thank you all for your collaboration, your time. We would love to continue the conversation with you. We are over time. I'm going to thank you for being here. It's been an absolute great session. On the screen, you have our QR codes, which will allow you to connect with any of us. It gives you our details, so please do take a picture of the QR codes. If not, and you still need to contact us, really get through us on email, and we would happily continue this conversation with you. We've got lots to say about it. So thank you very much to all of you on the call. Lovely having you. And with that, I'm going to close the session.